I'm going to start by reading the introduction to set the scene, and then I'm going to read something that is kind of sweet, since that's the theme. Can everybody hear me? Okay. Before I am born, my father, for reasons shrouded in mystery, abruptly leaves an engineering career in the United States. He buys 250 acres of remote beachfront land in the Dominican Republic. This small Spanish-speaking nation occupies most of the island of Hispaniola and is ruled by the dictator Rafael Trujillo. Haiti, a tiny nation with a voodoo heart, occupies the rest of the landmass. And Haiti is also ruled by a dictator, Papa Doc Duvalier. This was the era of strongmen in the Caribbean. It also included Batista in Cuba before Castro came into power. The island is also in the main path of hurricanes that storm through the Atlantic and Caribbean from June through November. In 1946, when I'm 6 weeks old and my sister Berta is 4, my father moves us into this instability. Our family lands with a pile of suitcases, a box of books, and bright Fiesta dinnerware, years before there will be electric power or actual roads to the closest village. My father hires a crew to plant 10,000 coconut seedlings and names the property Coco Loco. It was a very apt name. It will take several years for the palms to begin producing nuts, and so during that period he contracts with his former employer and travels to job sites around the globe. But when I'm 5, we settle permanently in the small fishing village of Miches, 4 kilometers from our coconut finca. Finca is a Spanish word for farm, and there are dozens of them all along the empty shorelines. My father originally joined with another American engineer on a larger parcel, but soon after the purchase, the partnership blew up. That family visits their finca often, and this is now really awkward, since my sister and I are forbidden at this point to speak to their children. A boy and girl are same ages. It's not easy to ignore them when they're right next door, but my father plants a high hedge of hibiscus between our properties so we can't see their house. My mother goes along with whatever my father decides. Other than the family we can't talk to, we will be the only English-speaking people within 100 kilometers. My father frequently says we are a damn happy family. We've arrived in paradise, and we are the luckiest people in the whole world. So the book actually dispels that myth. But there were some sweet situations and moments, and so this is a theme, and I will read my sweet piece. A year after we moved to Miches, one of Daddy's workers brings us a puppy, a wiggly ball of white fur and pink tongue. Para las niñas, he says, for the girls. My father first says no, but my mother begs him and he finally says we can keep him. The dog likes to bob about in the water, chasing the loons that are too smart to let him come anywhere near. So my sister names him Bobby. My job is to groom him, and that's a fancy word for pulling off ticks. His favorite spot is under my father's chair, except when my father's drunk. Then Bobby's tail curls under and he slinks over to my bed, where I sneak him up to my bunk and he licks my face. By now my sister and I have made good friends in the town, and we play together after their school lets out and our own lessons are over. We're actually homeschooled by correspondence courses in the backyard with the lizards for company. And we have chores. So today it's my turn to go grocery shopping. I haul out my bicycle and set out, stopping first at a stall where I can find the local delicacy, dulce de coco. Maria La Sorda has a ramshackle candy stand in front of her house, and she boils up batches of dulce in a big cauldron. Bobby and I follow the smell of the charcoal fire and a strong, sweet aroma mixed in with the salt air. Buenos dias, I say too loudly, because she's deaf. Maria La Sorda means Maria the Deaf One. And in this village, you're kind of nicknamed by whatever ails you. I mean, she was not insulted. It was just, she was Maria Lasorda. Everybody's named Maria because it's such a popular Catholic name, but I digress. She opens her mouth in a toothless grin, and her gray hair shakes in its bun. I watch as she grates coconut milk into cheesecloth and squeezes a stream of the white liquid into a simmering stew of milk and sugar. As the candy thickens, she tosses in what looks like a bunch of twigs tied in a small bundle, and the air fills with the tang of cinnamon bark and the scent of vanilla beans. After a while, the candy is done. She pulls a heavy cauldron off the fire and ladles the dulce onto a large sheet where it hardens before she cuts it into squares for sale. I buy 10 pieces to take home. Maria Lasorda gives me a coconut embrace that feels warm and smoky and good and makes me wish my mother would hug me like that sometimes. I just wish she'd hug me, period. So that's as far as I'm going to read. But I did bring coconut candy, and it was not made that way. Thank you.